welcome back to Zarl's Football, the podcast where we talk about football. Let's hop into this. The worst running back class in NFL history. At least in my opinion. Could be. Okay, so we're going to start off by stating this is the 2020 NFL Draft. There were multiple running backs taken. Most of them were taken in the second and third rounds. And let's just go through that list and let's talk a little bit about why this could be one of the worst in NFL history. So let's start off with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He was the first one drafted, I believe, right in the late 30s of the draft, and he was drafted to the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, currently, he has less rushing yards than a 7th round 2022 pick in Isaiah Pacheco out of the Rutgers, I think. And so yeah, he's getting kind of beat out by him right now. Not to mention he just went on IR. Clyde Edwards-Helaire did, and it's just not looking good for him. You know, I don't think he is going to be the starter anymore. And I think we're going to talk about him how we talk about some of the other guys that we're just about to get into. Okay, next up we got DeAndre Swift. He just got benched this season. He got benched for Jamal Williams. And truthfully, he has not been playing great. He's only missed about 8 games, but he really hasn't started too much for the Lions. I don't know exactly why that is. He's a pretty quick guy, but he doesn't have a lot of power, and he's kind of a smaller dude. And that could be one of the main reasons why the Lions aren't utilizing him. Their offense is more built for a power run game, which DeAndre just can't handle. So that definitely could be a part of it. I don't know. What is he? He's 3 years into his contract. So this could be one of his last years. He could be ended up getting let go. I don't know, unless he really turns on and figures something out. I don't know if he's going to be a starter again for the Lions, at least. He could easily go somewhere else, and I would not be surprised by that. And he definitely could be a good player. Okay, next up, we got Jonathan Taylor. And he's like really the only running back from this class that has really shown enough to say that he's a good starting running back. And I would even say he's a great starting running back. He's probably one of the top 5 running backs in this league right now. He has not been playing that way though. Even with the Colts offense being bad, with the offensive line being terrible, he still has not been showing up enough to prove that he's a top 5 running back, and to show as much expectations as he had this coming into the season. So definitely, I'm not worried about Jonathan Taylor. I think he's great. I think he's right in there with some of those, probably the top 10. I would say probably top 10 running backs. But I definitely don't think he's top 5 yet, and just hasn't shown enough to prove that. But definitely is up there. And okay, next up is Cam Akers. Now, he hasn't really been able to stay much healthy. First year, he played pretty well for the Rams. And then, what did he tear his ACL? Right in before the season. Oh, first preseason game of the Rams season in 2021. And took him out pretty much the whole entire season. I think he came in for a playoff game late in their run. And he played. I don't remember him being exceptional. I don't think he was very explosive in the playoff games, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why he's on this list for He's probably one of the biggest busts of this running back draft. He barely has 250 yards this season, and he got benched for Darrell Henderson. And I really don't expect him to stay on this team this season. I know that there was a lot of talks of him leaving. And he was really kind of in the doghouse for the Rams, and just don't expect a lot from him. I think that injury might have done it to him. I think it could have been that he was injured and he's just really lost that explosiveness. And I think that was one of his main parts of the game. So now without that, he is kind of just a very average, low end starting, if not backup running back. And I don't know if that's ever going to change. So I would say he's probably one of the bigger busts that this draft has had for running back wise. Okay, next up we got J.K. Dobbins. He was one of the last running backs drafted in the second round of the 2020 draft, if not in the third round. And one of his problems is that he just can't stay healthy. Ravens used him in his first year as a rookie. He played pretty well. I do believe he got injured close to the end of the season. And then what was it? It was 2021. He got injured again, out for the season. This year he's played a couple of games. I think he made it to week 6, got injured again, out. I believe out for the season. If not, I'm quite sure he's on IR right now. So he's still got it. I think. I don't think those injuries have really hurt him as bad as Cam Akers' injuries have, but he definitely hasn't put a lot on the field yet, especially lately in the last 2 years. And I don't know. I don't have a lot of belief in him anymore. I think the Ravens could potentially move on from him already, looking for a guy that can just stay healthy and help Lamar with that running game. So, but I would say he's probably the most likely to have a comeback out of all these guys. I would say J.K. Dobbins and DeAndre Swift would be my 2 guys that I would be rooting for. Not rooting for, I root for all of them, but expecting them to at least become a low-end starter at some point, and hopefully their careers have not become totally derailed and they can get back in the shape they were coming out of college and produce like that. So a couple other notable running backs that were drafted in that draft and even yet are still not proving a lot is A.J. Dillon. He was kind of drafted as their main running back, and he played for 2-3. I think he's still starting for the Washington Commanders, but he's about 50-50 with Brian Robinson this season. And A.J. Dillon, I heard some people talking about a bit about A.J. Dillon and how he kind of is just he doesn't exactly know where he's going with the ball. He gets the ball and he just can't really find a route, and he's kind of unpolished in the sense of awareness and where to go with the ball. But he has good traits, and I think he's a good backup running back. I view him kind of as a James Robinson, where he can step in a pinch and be good. Look at Alexander Mattison as well. A lot of those kind of guys. And then, or no. Okay, sorry. This was totally wrong. That was Antonio Gibson I was talking about for the Commanders. That was who I was talking about. A.J. Dillon is a insane power back, and but he's just behind Aaron Jones right now. And if Aaron Jones ends up heading out this season, just based on how the offense is playing, which I don't think is going to happen. I don't know how old Aaron Jones is. He's probably 28 or 29. I think he's still got a couple years, and he's still fine. But if A.J. Dillon starts coming in as that role, I think he'll probably be the second best running back out of this class. And I would not be surprised by that. And so yeah, we ran through a couple of those guys. I think a lot of them are they're very mid-average, maybe backup or above average backup running backs. I don't look at a lot of these guys except for maybe Jonathan Taylor and potentially even A.J. Dillon one day as being really good starters that maybe top 10 in the league. But this is kind of what we expect out of these drafts now. I mean, we're looking at Travis Etienne, we're looking at Najee Harris, all these guys that are already stepping up above these 2020 running backs. And not to mention looking at all the statistics and stuff, this 2020 class is kind of out of the ordinary in the sense that a lot of them aren't making the NFL jobs and not staying starting. So definitely one of the reasons that this NFL draft of running backs could be one of the worst that we've seen in a long time. And I don't know what they're going to do. I think Jonathan Taylor stays, and he's probably going to be a good back. But outside of that, he's probably the main guy out of this draft, and the rest of them mid-high-end backups. And that's not what we are expecting out of NFL drafts, especially nowadays with running backs. So that's Zarles Football. Thanks for watching.